कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन। जमुना तीर वनचारी। जमुना तीर वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन। जमुना तीर वनचारी। जमुना तीर वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन। जमुना तीर वनचारी। जमुना तीर वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय श्रीपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमद इस डिवाइन कृष्ण भाई चरणारविंद भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की इस्कॉन बिबडी फाउंडर आचार्य जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमद इस डिवाइन कृष्ण भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। ब्रजमी वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। जमुना माई की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। तुलसी महारानी की जय। समावित भक्त वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. Glories to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are reading from Srimad Bhagvadgita as it is, chapter number 3, text number 19. Tasmat asaktaha satatam karyam karma samachara asaktaha hi acharan karma param apnoti purushaha tasmadasakta satatam karyam karma samachara asakto hyacharan karma paramapnoti purushaha tasmadasakta satatam karyam karma samachara asakto hyacharan karma paramapnoti purushaha tasmadasakta satatam karyam karma samachara asakto hyacharan karma paramapnoti purushaha Mothers, Tasmat, therefore, asaktaha, without attachment, satatam, constantly, karyam, as duty, karma, work, samachara, perform. Asaktaha, unattached, he certainly, acharan, performing, karma, work, param, the supreme, apnoti, achieves, purushaha, a man. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty, for by working without attachment, one attains the Supreme. The Supreme Personality of Godhead for the devotees and liberation for the impersonalist. A person, therefore, acting for Krishna or in Krishna consciousness under proper guidance and without attachment to the results of the work is certainly making progress towards the supreme goal of life. Arjuna is told that he should fight in the battle of Kurukshetra for the interest of Krishna because Krishna wanted him to fight. To be a good man or a non-violent man is a personal attachment. But to act on behalf of the Supreme is to act without attachment for the results. That is the perfect action of the highest degree, recommended by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Vedic rituals like prescribed sacrifices are performed for the purification of the impious activities that were performed in the field of sense gratification. But action in Krishna consciousness is transcendental to the reaction of good or evil work. A Krishna conscious person has no attachment for the results but acts on behalf of Krishna alone. He engages all kinds of the activities but is completely non-attached. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshulmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jutapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavascha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanatanscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranami Sri Hari Priya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namaha Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Sarasate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Destarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. This third chapter is called Karma Yoga. But people misunderstand. If you work faithfully, true to your own consciousness, or one that does not disturb others, is itself Karma Yoga. That is the wrong information prevailing in educated mass. They want to call them Karma Yogis without connection with Krishna. How is it possible? It is not possible. The chapter itself is Karma Yoga, and Krishna is teaching what is Karma Yoga. In Karma Yoga, the karmi is, first of all, should not be attached to the results of his karma, because he is doing as an instrument to fulfill the desire of Lord Krishna. That is Karma Yoga. If Krishna is not connected in his work or in his consciousness while he is performing any work, then how could one equate that as Karma Yoga? It's not intelligent even. The devotees do not accept the wrong philosophy. Most of the people know the Sanskrit verses, but they construe misunderstanding out of it. Or they may read which is not parallel to what a realized soul and pure love of Godhead is writing. It's completely apart. You read any impersonalist view of Bhagvadgita, Sharik Bhashya, they will cut off all the connection with Krishna, who is the main speaker. But this principle remains the same throughout all the Vedic literature. As for example, the seventh canto, 14th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam describes how the head of the household has to work in such a consciousness as if he is serving Krishna but unattached to the results of it. He is trying his best to provide, but as a duty in Krishna consciousness that he has to maintain the family, he has to perform all the ritualistic ceremonies even for the benefit of the forefathers. But all the activities should not entangle him into further reactionary work. If he takes or partakes the reactions of his activities or karma, then the entire household is a failure. It's a failure. So therefore, what we see in Kali Yuga, the householders do not know this technique of liberation within the house as a grahastha. Stha means steady in anasakta bhav, not asakti. So if he works with the attitude that he is an instrument, he is not the owner of the house, he is not owner of the family even, but it is his duty towards Krishna. Because Krishna desired him to become a Prajapati, to serve the incoming soul and make him Krishna conscious. Liberate him. Otherwise, Prabhupada says people are begetting like cats and dogs with no responsibility and with all attachment. If you have attachment, there will be a fight because others will also develop attachment. Why there is disagreement in a household? Because of attachments. So, the head of the household, generally he is a Purusha, he should understand what is his role. Those who are bodily attached, like wife and children, because of Maithuni Bhavam. But when you perform Garbhadan Sanskar, there is no Maithuni Bhavam in it. Striyo punsan maithuni bhavam etat. Ataha griha kshetra aptavittaihi janasya moho ayam aham mameti. It creates an atmosphere of not only competitiveness, but envious. In Kali Yuga, ladies want to become husbands. And husbands, want to follow the ladies. Why to begin such a household in this fashion? Because they have not been taught. Even though we indicate, okay, Prabhu, you are getting married, so you know what is your responsibility. Your responsibility is to perform all the activities, keep in Krishna consciousness and remain detached. Pass on your attachment to your family. Don't keep with you. Then you will be liberated, and then after liberation you will be able to liberate others. But if a person who is so much attached, what he can do? He will put everybody's life into jeopardy. Because he has not learned the art of detachment. Anasaktasya vishayan yatha arham upayunjata nirbandhe krishna sambandhe yukta vairagya uchyate. Rupa Goswami gave a beautiful definition. Anasaktasya vishayan, on the objects of sense gratification. Remain detached from the objects of sense gratification. They are supposed to be used because Krishna has given you for the purpose of Krishna conscious activity. If it becomes a sense gratification activity, then blame yourself that you missed the point. Yatha arham upayunjata. In the way all these material things or the senses are to be used in service of Krishna. Yatha, for the purpose of. So, it is not for your bandhan, but Krishna sambandh. If it is no Krishna sambandh, then it will be your bandhan. It's pretty simple and easy to understand. So, why yogis have to control their senses? Only yogis have to control the senses? Everybody. Because senses are the medium to conduct service to Krishna. Because consciousness is flowing through senses. And then you recognize that as soon as your senses will stop working, you are dead. So recognition of the senses becomes the pivotal issue. What are they meant for? Why Krishna gave in the first place? Animals have also senses, but they cannot have any reason to ask the question because they are animals. But those who have developed discriminatory faculty to recognize what is Sat and what is Asat, because ultimate aim is to come to the point of the truth, which is absolute in nature. While a person misguided through the sense gratification, claiming I, me, and mine, whether it's a male or female, it becomes totally and not only quarrelsome atmosphere, but totally forgetting the purpose in first place, that why they get married even. Such education is lacking throughout the societies. But here Krishna is pushing us to understand the foundational situation, to remain anasakta, remain detached. Even while performing any essential activities in your household, you must remain detached. How do you remain detached? Offer it to Krishna. Yat karoshi, yadashnashi, yajuhoshi, dadasyat, yat tapasyasi kaunteya tad kurusva madarpanam. Krishna wants you to become detached, and you don't want to become detached. All right? So, this is pretty important. As we see in the previous verse, that naiva tasya kute nartho nakrut neha kaschana na chasya sarvabhuteshu kaschid artha vyapasraya. A self-realized man has no purpose to fulfill in discharge of his prescribed duties. Nor he has any reason not to perform such work. Actually, he doesn't need to do, because he is also on a stage of self-realization, and he is not forced to work, but yet he cannot neglect. He must act in such a way that it will keep his internal status quo as a liberated person, because he is self-realized. He must be liberated. We were touching this point in the morning class about the Avadhuta in Srimad Bhagavatam. The Prahlad Maharaj is facing a self-realized person and his symptoms that he had adopted an ajagar vritti, means living like a python at one place, whatever comes in its way, he eats. So similarly, this Avadhut was so much fat, but at the same time he's lying down like a python, doesn't want to get up even. Of course, fat man cannot get up that easily. You know, they have problem of the extra weight that they are carrying. But Prahlad Maharaj understood from his talks that he is not an ordinary person. But yet his external features were not conducive for a realized person. Actually, Prahlad Maharaj knows that he is a realized person, so there should not be any question whether he is fat or thin. But to give us a proper understanding that what it makes Avadhut to keep his internal status quo as a realized person, but yet externally acting completely contradictory. Here we say that he doesn't have anything to do. He is realized. He is not forced to do anything like a karma or anything. But yet it is advised that neither he should neglect also. There is no need, but you cannot neglect. Is it completely opposite to each other? No. If you put detachment, which is a prime factor for realization, realizing the absolute truth, Lord Shri Krishna, who is the source of everything, and He is performing all the act, we are just puppets. We have to be instrument. His consciousness is flowing in our body, so let Him work for the purpose of fulfilling that status quo. So every householder must be a self-realized person. Then and then his life will be successful. Otherwise, they have to walk in the instructions of Lord Shri Krishna how to become liberated, even while in a householder life. So, such a person who has nothing to do because he's already achieved the highest stage of self-realization. Nobody can force him to do any karma, but yet he has to eat. So some limited karma will be there. If he thinks, oh, my job is over, I'm self-realized, so I give up eating, sleeping, defending, everything. But then, what will be his duty? What will he be? His internal duty of service to Krishna. It has not been established. But in performance of devotional service, it will be established. So a devotee, whether he will be in realized state or not, if he performs those duties which are meant for pleasing Lord Krishna, is automatically on the same status quo of liberation. Rather, he will continue his services in loving devotional service to achieve further and further ranks of the ecstasies with Lord Shri Krishna. So, people talk of self-realization and this and that, but until and unless as a part and parcel of the Supreme Whole, meant to serve the Supreme Whole, will also have to be the highest active principle of our eternity. Self-realization is not end in itself. So, there is no compulsion for him to do any material work of attachment. He has easily given up, but yet he performs such activity for pleasure of Krishna to maintain even the household. There is nothing wrong in such a steadfast devotee, a householder devotee. Check the example of Kardam Muni. He's a self-realized person. He has vision, he has darshan of the Lord in his heart. And Lord Vishnu also personally came to give him benediction for his austerity. And inspired him, such an exalted yogi, to become a householder. It's not a curse, but it's the duty. So such person can give birth to incarnations. Kapil Dev was born. Lord Vishnu says, you are the perfect father. I will come in your family as your son. And Devhuti was such an intelligent person. Here is my chance to get free from all the entanglements, even after performing household duties. Such intelligence is the foundation of the purpose to populate the whole earth. Therefore, these Prajapatis and their descriptions in vivid activity has to be understood very properly. If we become slack in this understanding, then we can also get lessons like Daksha got lessons. He was very much attached to his pride and prestige. And he insulted Lord Shiva because he is not properly dressed. He does not give respect to his father-in-law. So much material attachment that came and punished Daksha to receive the head of a goat only. Goat is expert Prajapati. All right? So, Daksha was appropriately befitting that expertise and producing the progeny. That was his pride. But such pride was smashed. The Hankar was smashed by Lord Shiva by appropriate behavior towards him. Lord Shiva is in charge of mode of ignorance where false ego is generated. So, we must understand that the underlying principle of working is without detachment, not with attachment. If we do with an attachment, there is no impetus to live or do good. That is a misunderstanding. A fundamental mistake in the material life is this. People want to get the credit of what they do. Arre Baba, how much credit can you get it on a borrowed energy? You are an indebtor. Everything has been supplied to you. So if you want to become free from the obligations, then surrender to Krishna. Sarvatmanaya sharanam sharanyam gato mukunda prayirta krityam. Otherwise, devarshi bhutaptandranam pitrunam nayam kinkaro chanarapatim charajan. Sarvatmanaya sharanam sharanyam gato mukundam parirtya krityam. Who can become free from the obligations of their work? Pious men are supposed to thank the demigods. They were rishis who are guiding through the Vedic writings how to live. Nranam, the general populace. We have to do beneficial work to them. So it's an obligatory work. If you have money, you are supposed to donate. Because the money is a transformation of Krishna's energy. So Devarshi Bhutapta. Bhuta means generally all the living entities. Apta means one's own kinsman. Nranam, the human societies. Pitrunam, the forefathers. Everybody is obliging us because they brought us in this material world and they made some provision for us to live in the society and give guidance by the rishis and devatas who are suppliers. We are obligated. Even we are obligated to a servant who serves our purpose. And what to speak about? The government. Everybody, we have to pay the tax. And So many government departments. Income tax, sales tax, cess tax, then so many different kinds of taxes. Now everything is one called GST. It's obligatory works. That's forced on us. Sarvatmanaya sharanam sharanam. But one who is surrendered, one who has taken with unflinching faith on Lord Krishna, a total surrender to Lord Shri Krishna. Gatam kundam. He will go back home, back to Godhead. Pariratya krutyam. He has no more obligations. Otherwise we are forced. By surrendering ourselves, it means we have to also give up all the attachments and their results. That is anasakta bhava. At least Krishna gives us opportunity to become anasakta even by a human span of life. Just like Panchashat Varam Gachet. For what business? You have to go give up your household and go to forest. For what? There's a purpose. You give up because your attachment has been still there. Therefore you have to give up. You want to become detached, so become forcefully detached or willfully detached, but get detached. Then have an austere life. By tolerating means the austerities are purifying our existence of attachment and we become detached. Whatever the minimal activity just to maintain body and soul together, that will not create an attachment. Survival till we become Krishna conscious, fully surrendered to soul. We have to exist, but existing with the performance of the detached to the results of the activities. It should not be forgotten. In this way, a soul is surrendered by detachment. And then he can become willful instrument in the hand of Lord Krishna. That's what Arjuna did it. This is only the third chapter. It may take time because there will be so many underlying issues that Arjuna is questioning. Krishna, you are forcing me to work until I should not be attached to the results of it. Why are you forcing me to work if the results are not going to be mine? He did not understand it means. So gradually he comes to understand by equivocal absolute truth coming out from Lord Krishna's mouth. So this is a very important verse that builds up the foundation of a devotee, a Krishna conscious devotee who is practicing detachment. In Kali Yuga, austerities will bring detachment. That is not possible. But use everything in service of Krishna, not for your sense gratification, is the real art of detachment. That is called Yukta Vairagya. So in this way we have to learn and invest the most important principle in our life of cultivation of detachment. Because Krishna says that by becoming detached and work for me will you purchase me. Param Purusham Paramapnopti Purusha. That is the highest stage of obtaining me personally. Simply work in such a way that I will be attracted towards your devotional service. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj says, don't try to see Krishna with your naked eyes. But you have to see in such a way that he may come to see you. You have to see Krishna through ears, not eyes. Because these are the realized words coming from Lord Krishna, and devotees practice on it. So therefore, a sincere devotee is meditating on the meaning of the detachment that is playing most important role in our life of Krishna consciousness. So anybody has any question?
Thank you, Maharaj. Really nice class. There's a line that Prabhupada writes in the purport. To be a good man or a non-violent man is also a personal attachment. So can you shed some light on that? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th line.
To be a good man or non-violent man is a personal attachment, personal choice, personal belief. You are stuck with your own idea that I want to develop non-violence. Did Gandhi succeed in non-violence practice? No. How can you practice non-violence at the expense of genocides and Holocaust? Was the violence there? But Gandhi even fasted for the cause of Muslims in Noakhali. Gandhi chastised Hindus to serve Muslims, to clean their toilets even. There you must serve them. It's a wrong principle he adopted. An obstinate idea which is wrongly placed in politics. It is still material in nature. Still material in nature. It does not liberate you. Can anybody claim Gandhi was liberated? No. Ask Srila Prabhupada. He wrote warning Gandhi on a wrong path, misusing the Bhagvadgita. That is not fair. He was an impersonalist. He didn't have faith in Krishna. He had a doubt. How can a doubtful person become Krishna conscious? No. So, Gandhi was attached to the wrong practice of non-violence. He cannot control, rather he had an anti-opinion. It was simply politically motivated. Means material attachment. Politically motivated means what? Attachment. But to act on behalf of the Supreme is to act without attachment for the result. Yes. How can you serve otherwise, Lord Shri Krishna? If you serve Lord Shri Krishna as a good man, but with attachment, is it going to be fruitful? There are subtle desires of profit, adoration and distinction while performing devotional service. And you may not show externally, but you are attached internally. Then, do you think you will be come back to Godhead? No. It's plain and simple. To work for Krishna means work without attachment to the results of Krishna. Krishna commanded, fight Arjuna. Even though he didn't want to fight, but he understood the desire of the Lord, and his only duty is to fulfill the desire of the Lord, whether he will be winner or loser. That is the life of devotion. For the sake of Krishna. Do you think the Muslims are on the same path? They want to sacrifice their life for material reasons. You'll get 72 huras in the heaven to enjoy. Hura means beautiful women. You can't maintain 1, 2 or 3 or 5 even. The government has to help you. Irresponsible. Where is anasakta bhava? They want asakti in the name of Allah. Right? They give such training to even jihadis that if you die for Allah's sake, you'll get 72 nuras or huras, beautiful ladies to serve you. This is their conception. Is it anasakta bhava? No. They don't know. Yet they have been converted by force, so they will never know. By force, atrocities against Hindus. So, Krishna is in control. As devotees, we have to have full faith on Krishna, and we have to, continue with anasakta bhava to become an instrument in the hand of the Lord. What is the use to die with asakta bhava? It's not liberation. Brahma puvan loka punaravartin arjuna. You will rotate from lower planetary system to the highest planetary, but you have come back. So there are so many examples to make us understand what is required to be a devotee. You have some question?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. Just taking this Gandhiji topic ahead, I'm aware that Srila Prabhupada wrote many letters to Mahatma Gandhi to include Gita in his teachings, but he did not. But at the time of death, it seems that he chanted Hey Ram. So at
Who
that,
said that?
it's shown in the movie.
No, there is no documentation.
It's not? Okay.
The eyewitness who were there, they never say
They never
Gandhi
said.
ever chanted Hey Ram.
Because he had this, and he
Baba,
said Hey Ram.
sentiments, that sentiments can make everything worse, and the politicking about it that has given credentials to Mahatma Gandhi as the Rashtrapita. But now everything is getting exposed. How could such a person be a Rashtrapita? Material activities has two sides. And either side, if one is attached, is failure. Good or bad, what does it mean?
Okay.
So we are led, but we cannot become unintelligent to verify. We are led to believe Mahatma Gandhi. But check Mahatma's definition, what Krishna says.
Yes.
Mahatmanastu maam
Mahatmanastu
partha
partha
daivim
daivim
prakritim
prakritim
ashrita bhajantim ananya manaso gyatva bhutadim avyayam. What is the translation?
Even Bahunam Janma Namante, Gyatva Mam Prapadyante,
But where
Vasudeva
is he?
Visa Matma
He did not
Sadurlabha.
prapadyate. Prabhupada invited him to get prapadyate. Surrender now. Give up all the politicking.
Yes.
And he did not pay any heed or responded to Srila
Yes.
Prabhupada. And by the way, his guru was Srimad Rajchandra, a jeweler from Mumbai. Huh? And there are so many centers of him in Gujarat because they were all Gujaratis. I come from there. But the politics can make you understand something. Then, for 70 years after the independence, we were still dependent upon the foreign rule. Huh? Yes, Prabhu?
For me, this is a very important point, therefore I'm asking again, sorry. I agree with you on Mahatma Gandhi, but over the ages, Hindus, they were exactly trying to be good and non-violent, and therefore India was ruled by foreign powers, one after another.
The age of Kali is deteriorating, that we can understand. But how come Srila Prabhupada came out in such a wretched age and to the wretched place of New York, in the heights of Ashbury, Bowery, and such hippie hiddums, you know? How come he came there? Vivekananda went there before him, but he never chanted Hare Krishna, never introduced the cardinal process that will liberate everybody, pure devotional service. Because he was an impersonalist and atheist. He knew the Vedas and Vedic study, but everything ended up in matter. So unfortunate. Mayavad, Adi Shankara was the ruling. And that is to cheat the people who are so materially obsessed. But he advised, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam Murmate. Now, is anybody is Gudmati or Murmati? Only the followers of Srila Prabhupada have Gudmati. Some good intelligence left. And Yajanti Sumedasa, they will only worship. So, please protect the discussion in the realm of Srila Prabhupada's views. He opened our eyes. by torchlight of knowledge. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnanajana Shalakaya Chakshul Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruven. So we have to discriminate. The history has been polluted by the atheist under the name of secularism. They suppressed Hindus, the majority, and still they are doing it. Let's see. Krishna can give the impetus to the solution.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. Maharaj, my question is for devotee, like as we know, Sambandha, Abhideva and Prayojan, and devotees perform their devotional service and getting attached to, the goal of like getting Krishna mercy or Krishna prema. So is it good, healthy, this kind of attachment?
But it is achieved in a stage wise. You can't jump like a monkey. Prabhupada said, don't be a monkey. Develop the sambandha. Ādau Shraddha Tato Sadhu Sangha Atha Bhajana Kriya. When you take up Bhajana Kriya, you will establish the sambandha. That is the first initiation, is sambandha jnana will be given. Then the process is abhideya. How to maintain the relationship between a master and the servant. It's our obligation, so we perform devotional service. That is the sambandha jnana. That is called abhideya, the process by which we maintain the sambandha jnana. And at the end of such practice, prayojan will be there. That is love of Godhead. Love of Godhead can be attracting even a neophyte devotee because it's independent, like Lord Shri Krishna itself. Bhakti can be bestowed not by your desire or my desire, but Krishna is sitting in everyone's heart and sees the sincerity of the soul, so he knocks off his ignorance, so he can surrender him better. Yasyaham anugrahanami harishyata dhanam sanai. His riches and attachment I will take away. That is real mercy of Krishna. But we have to understand by studying, by observing the examples, and will be benefited from it. Prayojan can be a long-term issue for certain people, but it may not be for others, because they have been picking up from wherever they have left over in the previous life. So, but we witness them. We witness them. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.